Toastmaster.
I'm so tall now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 60th Annual Nebula Awards. Come on, give it up. I am absolutely thrilled to be here with you all to celebrate some of the best and brightest in science fiction and fantasy writing today. And thanks to the magic of streaming, and as we know from our countdown, this party is taking place across time and space. So whether you're enjoying this with a hearty breakfast, trying to stay up until the final late middle of the night award is given out, or sitting here in this ballroom somewhere in between, thanks for being here and for being part of it. Now, before we get started in earnest, I have a confession to make. I originally thought about opening the show tonight with an entire song and dance number, like you might see at the Oscars or the Tonys. And I used to write some decent parody songs in college, and I figured I would name drop all the nominees, pull off some great rhymes, and maybe even highlight the melody of a song from the era when the Nebulas began. Cabaret, I thought, a song about joining in the fun of life, from a musical about the role of art in a world sliding into fascism. Or, for a closing number, Harry Belafonte's cover of the Jamaican folk song Deo, which brought him enormous popularity as an artist and generated a ton of money that he used to help fund the fight for civil rights. And I was like, dang, that sounds great. But then I actually tried singing one of my inventions to a friend of mine, just like it would happen up here with no accompaniment, just me and the microphone. And I quickly decided to save it for the after party. You're welcome. But all of those songs stuck with me, in part because they're important and relevant and in conversation with the times around them in their own different ways, but also because they're honestly just really fun to sing. Like, honestly, try it later, not right now. They're catchy and they're full of joy, and there are times like then and like now when honestly, we need that. I mean, spoiler alert, I was not there when the Nebula Awards were first envisioned 60 years ago by the late Lloyd Biggle Jr. I'm not a secret time traveler, but I have to believe that part of it was about that kind of joy. The excitement in being able to acknowledge your peers for the way they create new worlds and explore our own. The pomp and circumstance in a night like this, where we get dressed up and gather to celebrate the importance of writing, not just for the benefit of all the people who enjoy this incredible work, but for all of us who put a bit of our joy and heart and soul into it. That feeling, that joy, it doesn't always have to be in big rooms or in shared celebrations. It's great when it is, but mostly it isn't. It's a moment when a character triumphs on the page, when a battle is won on the screen, when it's 4 a.m. and you finally turn the last page or see the credits roll or write the very last word of Final 2, .final, really this time I'm done, version 3. Writing can be such an expression of joy, and I hope we experience so much of it tonight, whether I sing about it or not. But when it comes to writing, just as it does with those songs, just like it does with so much of the work we're celebrating here tonight, joy is just the beginning. 60 years ago, when the Nebula Awards began, it was 1965, a historically calm year, much like this one. Independences were being gained, occupations endured, rights were being fought and bled for, wars began, resistance movements grew, and a World's Fair ended. It was a year when Dune, the winner of the very first Nebula for Best Novel, and the creation of tonight's Infinity Award honoree Frank Herbert, was first published, but so was the autobiography of Malcolm X 9 months after his assassination. 1965 was the year when Gabriel Garcia Marquez began writing Cien Años de Soledad, and Samuel Delany wrapped his Fall of the Towers trilogy. All works written at a time of rebellion and revolution and change that I would argue seeped into their very pages. Because writing can be an expression of joy and also an act of resistance. It can have the passion of first love or the passion of a very last stand, or depending on the work, a little bit of both. But whether it's getting us to laugh together, cry together, or stand 10 toes down together, it's always of the moment, for the moment, in whatever that moment may be. And today, we're in another moment. And luckily, we're here together. It's sometimes said that writing is a solitary act, but I've never found that to truly be the case, even when it sometimes feels that way. It's possible that I'm just lucky or looking for the best in everything. But before this ceremony began tonight, I saw so many expressions of community and solidarity. People sharing ideas and hugs, photos posted of people's fits and faves, wishes of good luck passed across a room or over so many, many miles. And that makes sense, because writing is joy and resistance and also an act of communion. And here's where I make a second confession, one that I was even more tempted to keep to myself. I don't write as much as I think I should. Sometimes the moment feels bigger than my words. Sometimes my life is lifing against me. Sometimes it's all I can do, all any of us can do, to read and play and enjoy the bright sparks of creativity like the ones we're honoring here tonight. Sometimes we're changing the world with our words. Sometimes we're bringing a smile to someone's face. And sometimes we're just trying to make it through the day, one moment after another. Sometimes writing is waiting to write, or celebrating the writing of others, or listening to the stories that beg to be told, or finding the stories that you need to tell and waiting for the time you can tell them. Maybe I'm just telling myself this, but in case you need to hear it too, writing is joy and resistance and communion, and sometimes it's taking a nap when you need it, because without rest, how can we dream? Between us, that's what we do best. We of the science fiction and fantasy community who imagine new futures and different realities, who see magic in shadows and through unexpected doorways, who confront what happens when the things you've been taught are true turn out to be impossible, and the things you think are fairy tales are merely some shade of improbable. Now, that doesn't mean we always get it right. 60 years is a long time. Did the folks who sat at the first nebulas thinking of the future imagine the technology we'd have, the stories we'd tell, the fact that I am the one up here hosting? Maybe not. Oh, thank you. But that doesn't mean we stop. Whether we're putting our dreams to paper or writing our way out of a nightmare. Writing is joy and resistance and communion and a dream after rest and a claiming of our truth and a shout and a spark and a whisper. Writing is what we love most of the time. Maybe not when it's waking us up in a cold sweat in the middle of the night, wondering about the comma in paragraph 3, or the fate of our mushy middle, or if we found the right synonym for grief. We don't have to love it all the time. We don't have to love it all the same way. Writing can be joy and resistance and communion and a dream and a comfort and a word I'd never think of, but you know, deep down in your soul. It can be what unites us. It can be what reminds us of the importance of all of our differences. It can make us laugh or cry or rage against the dying of the light. And tonight, we get the chance to sample some of the best of it. Different forms, different formats, different themes, different experiences, just as soon as I stop and we start the show. It's all the way down here. Last year, Sarah Gailey reminded us that this is a Toastmaster speech, and so there should probably be a toast. I'm gonna go grab this glass of wine from down here, y'all. Look, I'm not toasting with nothing. Okay, so I love Sarah Gailey's toast from last year, fuck fascism, so that, again, fuck fascism. But I also wanna add a little something of my own. To the finalists, congratulations. To everyone who's a part of this, thank you. And finally, from the bottom of my heart, to writing, because it's ours and what we make it. Cheers.